Arsenal and Chelsea qualify into the next stage of the Europa League with a win and a draw respectively. This is your Europa League review. So, Arsenal and Chelsea both qualify for the next stage of the Europa League. Something that we expected them to do anyway, really and truly. But they've done it duly. Arsenal today got a 0-0 draw with Sporting Lisbon in a match I guess they expected to win, especially based on how poor Sporting Lisbon were at home, at their home in the first leg of the Europa League. But again today, not the best performance from Arsenal. But actually the performance you can expect after what happened. There was actually a big injury to Danny Welbeck. If you haven't seen it, the images don't look good. It's not looking good right now. He was stretchered off after going for a header with one of the Sporting players. He landed awkwardly. It looks like he landed on his ankle and it just didn't look good. He was stretchered off. The Arsenal players, if you saw their faces straight away, they realised there was a big problem with Danny Welbeck. He was taken off and Aubameyang came on and it sort of gave a bit of a dull mood for the rest of the game, really. There wasn't much happening either end of the pitch, really. Sporting the whole game didn't have a shot on target, as they didn't have in the first leg as well, so they didn't really prove any threat from Arsenal. Little burst from Nani in the second half with a cross that was gathered from Czech was pretty much as good as Lisbon were going to get. Arsenal did have a couple of chances. Guendouzi's cross was almost put in by Mathieu before the Danny Welbeck injury. And Aubameyang was probably Arsenal's brightest spark when he came on for Danny Welbeck off the bench. He had a shot in the second half, which was a cross came in and he just clipped it onto the crossbar, trying to put Arsenal in front, but it hit the bar and went out. So that was as close as Arsenal got. A couple of half chances from Mkhitaryan and Iwobi, which was blocked. And then Aubameyang, as he was basically through on goal, trying to win the game for Arsenal, going into a one-on-one with the goalkeeper, was duly tripped by the former Barcelona defender Mathieu, who saw his challenge get sent off for a straight red card. It was a cynical foul, but I guess a foul we had to do to save Sporting a point in today's game. Arsenal obviously denied all 3 points through that challenge, and Aubameyang's free kick after that went over the bar. That leaves Arsenal still top of the group with 10 points. Sporting got 7. But due to the other results in today's games, it means that Arsenal do qualify. But we'll need to get a result in their next game at least if they're going to top the group, because Sporting are on 7 points, only 3 points behind them. But yes, Arsenal do qualify today. Also, as I said, Chelsea have qualified for the next stage of the Europa League as well. They won 1-0 against Bate Borisov. And again, not the best game. If anything, Bate Borisov were the better side. 3 chances hit the woodwork. Bate Borisov had an early chance, hit the post before Girouds' header in the second half. Chelsea looked very, very much lacklustre in the first half. Not quite sure why, to be fair. Of course, there was a wholesale changes. Hazard came back into the team after a couple of weeks out of a back injury. Didn't look back to his best. And he came off in the second half just after Giroud scored. It was a cross from Emerson, which Giroud headed into the near post. And that was about it from Chelsea. And then after that, pretty much it was Bate Borisov attacking them. Rios had a good chance. He hit it over the bar. And then they had a couple of chances hit the post and the bar, respectively, towards the end of the game as well. Which is probably unlucky for Bate Borisov. I guess Chelsea did deserve it with the amount of possession that they had. Giroud had another header, which could have easily found the back of the net, good save from the goalkeeper. Obviously, it's just Giroud's first goal that he scored today under Sarri for Chelsea this season, his first goal of the season. He was rewarded with another call up to the France squad over Lacazette. Make what you think of that as well. Giroud, who only scored, like I said, 1 goal this season, compared to Lacazette from Arsenal, who seems he can't get out of the goal scoring line when he plays for Arsenal. But yes, it was Giroud who got the winner for Chelsea and sent Chelsea through with the win. They will need to get a point at least in their next 2 games in the Europa League to top their group, but I'm sure they'll do it with their remaining 2 games. However, things looked a bit different in Scotland this week, and this was probably where the entertainment was at. It was Spartak Moscow versus Rangers. In that game, Spartak won it 4-3. Rangers took the lead 3 times in that game, but in the period of 71 seconds, Spartak came back whilst they were 3-2 up to make it 4-3, and they beat Rangers in that group, so a tough time for Steven Gerrard. Whereas Celtic, who we thought were dead and buried at this stage, they won 2-1 today. with an Edwards goal towards the end of the game in the 79th minute, just after Leipzig scored. They beat Leipzig 2-1 at home to give themselves a lifeline as such. They're level on points with Leipzig now, but Leipzig have the better head-to-head record. So for Celtic to qualify in that group with Salzburg and Rosenborg, they're going to have to do a lot of work in the last 2 games to get anything from that game. So tough time for the teams in Scotland, but good, probably better games. Quite dull results for the teams in England. Couple of other results this week. Marseille lost, and they're crashing out of the Europa League as well. Leverkusen won today as well. AC Milan could only get a draw. So tough games across Europe. Of course, we saw yesterday and the day before that there could be a couple of surprises in the Europa League for the next round. So we'll have to wait and see what happens then. But good news for the English clubs today is that Arsenal and Chelsea qualify for the next stage of the Champions League. Europa League. For the next stage of the Europa League. Make sure you check out all of our other videos. And of course, the podcast is out, so make sure you check that out.